Greetings, book lovers, shoppers, holiday lovers, literary fans. I am so excited to welcome all of you to one of, if not my favorite annual Alta Live. We do this every year at Alta. We gather 3 booksellers from indie bookshops across the West and get their recommendations for what to give an array of people who might be on your Christmas list this year. I am so excited to welcome Karen from Alibi Bookshop in Vallejo, California. This is the only bookstore in the city of Vallejo. If you are in the Vallejo area and you don't stop by, I will really be mad at you, and so will Karen. It is a wonderful bookshop. We're big fans of them, and so excited that Karen is joining us today. Hello to Carr from Green Apple. Green Apple Books in San Francisco. Everyone knows it is a touchstone of the San Francisco literary community. Carr works specifically at Green Apple on the Park and has helped us host several Alta events there. Big welcome to Carr. And of course, Nikki from Octavia's Bookshelf in lovely Pasadena, California. If you are a fan of Octavia Butler, as we know, Linnell Georges, let's just even spy and see if Linnell is here today. I will send her a link to this video. Octavia's Bookshelf is a wonderful bookshop located in Pasadena, California. We are going to send all of you, before you even ask, we are going to send all of you links to each of these bookshops. Again, that's Alibi in Vallejo, Green Apple in San Francisco, Octavia's Bookshelf in Pasadena, and links to each of our booksellers' picks today. We've got it all ready to go. It's going to come to you in an email. Don't even worry about it. We've got you covered. This is a super fun episode. It is being recorded and will be shared with all of you, as well as at altaonline.com later this afternoon. And before I begin with our shopping list, allow me to make a hard pitch. Alta Journal makes a wonderful, wonderful gift this holiday season. You can give a membership to Alta for $50 a year. You can also give, Karen, I know you have it with you, our bookstore guide. This bookstore guide is Alta's list of best bookstores of California and the West. Alibi, Green Apple, Octavia's Bookshelf are all included within. If you get the New York Times California newsletter, you will note that we got a huge shout out. And that book, of which there are few copies left, is flying off our shelves. So if you want to order it, grab it now while you can, because I suspect we may sell out. It also makes a great gift. And so I'm going to pop a link, or maybe my colleague Jess Blau can pop a link in the chat for those folks that want to order that book. Again, we've sold a lot in the past couple of days. Big shout out to the New York Times California newsletter. So with that, booksellers, literary geniuses, experts, all of the above. We're going to go clockwise based upon my Zoom. And it's so nice to see, again, for Alta Live regulars, please do let us know where you're zooming in from in the chat. Hey to Karen in South City. I am here in Novato, California. And with that, Karen, I'm going to start with you. Does that work for you?
Sure. What category would you like me to do?
All right, we're going to start with new fiction.
Okay.
What's your pick?
Okay, well, I kind of have.
Oh, no, and with that, we've lost connection with Karen in Vallejo.
To send. This is not a Merry Little Meet Cute or, whatever. It is a deep, beautiful, heavy book. Her turn of phrase is absolutely gorgeous. There's, she's won the National Book Award. I think this is going to be a contender. It is so beautiful. But also January, and sometimes that gets a little heavy. So this was one of my favorite books of the year. It's Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Oh, I cried. It's so sweet. You just want to. So this is a really good game. This is kind of the yin and yang, and this one is narrated by an octopus. So, go for it.
Karen, will you say the title? You dropped out for a second. Will you say the title of the first book again?
Let Us Descend by Jessamine Ward.
Thank you. Okay, Carr, fiction.
All right. I anticipate with I really look forward to every Jesmyn Ward book that comes out. So we're very lucky to be living in the same time as Jesmyn Ward. My choice for new fiction was Cross Stitch by Jasmina Barrera. It's from Two Lines Press, based here in San Francisco. Oh, sorry, blurry. It is translated from the Spanish by rock star translator Christina McSweeney. I'm a Barrera stan. She's the author of 2 essay collections on lighthouses and Linea Nigra, which I adored, and Cross Stitch is her first novel. And it really captures the particular bond that we have with our friends as young people, particularly women and those of us socialized as women. And it deals with adulthood and the passage of time and what time does to those friendships. And it's told in traditional Barrera style, using seemingly disparate parts to make a narrative. And I think it's really good for, if you like Elena Ferrante or Amy Tan, I think this is definitely in that tradition.
Har, one more time. Who is the author of Cross Stitch?
Oh, Jasmina Barrera.
And folks, don't worry if you miss any part of this. We got the lists in advance, and we will be sending you the complete list of books, authors, and links of how to buy them while supporting independent booksellers. Don't you worry. Okay, Nikki, your pick for fiction.
So my pick for fiction, since you got an advanced list, is the same as Karen's, Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward. I sobbed hysterically. She writes in a heavy, deep way. The way Jesmyn Ward writes is so beautiful and lyrical, and she's able to capture detail like no one else I know. And so, yes, I'm with Karen on that one. Let Us Descend, Jesmyn Ward. You gotta grab it. It's a must read.
All right, Karen, nonfiction or history?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's so many. Nonfiction or history. Is that the one? Oh my gosh. Biography. You guys, I'm totally.
I can tell you what you picked.
Go to somebody else. Now I'm looking.
Car, what's your choice for nonfiction history?
All right, my choice was Monsters by Claire Dederer. I'm sorry, I have my background blurry because my room is a mess. So I'm gonna try and make the covers not get blurry in the Zoom. Because you need to see this photo of Pablo Picasso on the cover. It's Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma. I think Dederer's book, so it's about what we do with the art of monstrous men. And the definition of monstrous expands and changes as you continue reading. Like, what do we do with, or like, how do we consume the work of artists who have done terrible things in their personal lives? I think it's a really brave and necessary beast of a project. I think Claire Dederer is so smart, and I'm really in awe of this intellectual pursuit of hers. She looks back at her own thoughts and conclusions and hypocrisies and names them. I think what's really important, and spoiler alert, sorry, there's no one answer for what we do with this kind of art. But it's a really great meditation on power and art and how we're not able, and how we are or not able to love people who have done harm. And more importantly, as a gift, I don't think it's a bummer of a book. I don't think it'll ruin your day. And I think it's actually really engaging and stimulating.
All right. Okay, Karen, are you ready for this one?
I am ready for this one. I have so many piles here because I got so excited. And Car, I just want to say, I don't know about you guys, but we have that conversation in the bookstore all the time about monsters. How do we separate the art and the writer and the artist from these books that we love, Harry Potter, and and what do you do? So this book has been so important, and I've sold so many too. So I lead pack cars, but mine is the great Obie Kaufman, Deserts of California. This is his new one. There's a whole series. It's the Atlas of California, Forest California Field Atlas, Forest of California, Coast of California. these are so beautiful. And I found out that he lives one town over from the store. So I, fangirl him all the time. Obi, if you're listening, come on in.
He's our guest next week. So
Oh,
we'll
well,
let
tell
him know.
him that his big fans at Alibi Bookshop love him. They are so cool and so meticulous. There's so much beautiful information, and any Californian, needs to have these on your shelf. Also, if you're not a Californian and you're just dreaming about it, or you want to send something to your family back east, this one is. They're just gorgeous. So this is my nonfiction pick, Deserts of California, or any of Obi Kaufman's.
Nikki.
Yes, coming in with We Were Once a Family by Roxana Asgharian. This tells a haunting story of 6 adopted children who were killed by their adopted parents back in 2018. It's a story we've all heard. At some point, it happened in California. They drove themselves off of a cliff. And what Roxana does in this book so well is talks about the system failures that allow these children to be taken from a family that really did love them, who didn't have the resources necessary to meet governmental requirements, but with help, they could have stayed in their family. It also talks about the lives of these children, their short lives. It talks about their family. And it's just a really in-depth look at the foster care system, interstate adoptions, and what unfortunately was a failure by many, many, many people and agencies. It's heartbreaking in a different way than Let Us Descend, but it was the best nonfiction book I've read all year.
Is this the Hart family?
It is.
We reviewed a podcast about that. I didn't know there was a new book about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, adding that to my list.
Yes.
All right, next. Let's see what's next on our list. Biography memoir.
Me?
Karen
Okay.
Alibi. Yes.
Okay. So disclaimer, this is a very Vallejo heavy recommendation, but we are so proud of Vallejo, so we have got to give a shout out for one of our most famous residents other than the Zodiac, is Sly Stone. Thank you for letting me be myself again.
Yes.
Yes, Questlove, actually, I heard, started this publishing company just so he could get Sly's story. And we have sold so many of this because we're so proud that Sly is from Vallejo. And they even say on American Bandstand in the 1970s, when Dick Clark says, "Oh, you're from San Francisco," and they're like, "No, Vallejo." So thank you very much. And I can't tell you how many times people come in here saying, "I was in drama class with Sylvester, and oh, I knew him, and oh, his family's still over here." So Sly, if you're listening, come on in. And then also another quick shout out for California, the World According to Joan Didion. We've had a Joan Didion book club for the past year, and it has been phenomenal. So this is our last book that we're reading. I also feel like if you live in California, you've got to read Joan Didion. It's so important. So Sly, Joan. Polar opposites. Yay.
I did not know Sly was from Vallejo. Okay.
Oh, well, he was from Texas and then moved to Vallejo and went to high school in Vallejo, and everyone in Vallejo still claims Sly.
Rightfully so. And not the Zodiac. Okay.
Oh, yes, and the Zodiac for sure.
So I was not able to get a physical copy of one of the books I wanted to tell you about, but I will do a quick plug for Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant by Curtis Chin. It was really great. And I won't say any more because I tried to narrow down my memoir picks and I did not do a great job of it. So we're just going to get through it. One of my favorite books this year was Daddy Boy by Emerson Whitney. I really love the elevator pitch for this book. It's unbeatable. A submissive ends his long-term relationship with his dom wife and finds himself figuring out who he is and decides to fulfill a lifelong dream of storm chasing. It's my favorite. So that's like the beginning of the story. And
Ah.
what follows is that it's like deep and insightful and funny and like cerebral and really beautiful. And it's all about like trying to find who you are and trying to find your best self reflected in other people. And then there's like storm chasing along the way. I love Emerson Whitney's writing, and I think he's fabulous, and I really recommend this book to anybody.
Nikki, biography memoir.
Yes, I am going with Heavy by Kiese Layman. It came out, I think, in 2018. It still remains one of my top 5 memoirs of all time. I have my own copy. I've also listened to it a few times on audio. It's actually recorded by Kiese Layman. And there's something about authors, particularly when they are narrating their own memoir, like they just hit on, every sentence, every word just the right way. So no matter how you read it by audiobook or the book itself, Heavy is, in my mind, a classic. It is beautiful and it is heartbreaking, and it is just an honest story about the man of a Black man in America being raised by a single mother, his relationship to education, his relationship to her, how the world views him, addiction. I mean, there's everything in here. And I recommend y'all get Heavy.
I love that each of you are nodding at everyone else. Like, you know books so well that you're like, oh, that's one good one too.
Heavy is one of my favorite books of all time. And
He was just on This American Life, wasn't he?
I'm not sure, but I know he has been before. Can I make a very brief shout out to The Woman in Me by Britney Spears?
Yes.
Because it's a very good book. And I know a lot of people are like, a celebrity, Britney Spears writing a memoir. I'm like, please leave Britney alone. It is so good. I listened to the audiobook by Michelle Williams, and she gives a great performance. And Britney Spears doesn't owe us anything. And we got this really stellar memoir by a famously maligned woman. And it's a really great gift for anyone who's like a Britney fan. And I would recommend, or not, honestly, it's like just a really good book. It talks about so much stuff, and you'll really appreciate hearing it from her voice. And if you get it for someone as a gift, get a gift receipt because they might already have it.
And if we're doing celebrity memoirs, may I suggest Worthy by Jada Pinkett Smith? Similar to what you said about Britney. I don't know. You think you know her. You think you know her life. She's been on Red Table Talk. She's been very vocal about all this stuff you don't know. We were so fortunate to have her come to the bookstore to sign books. I got an ARC a few months back, and I devoured it in like a weekend. So if you're doing celebrity memoir, rappers.
No, there's nothing wrong with celebrity memoir. Before we move on to mystery or thriller, can you, if people do like audiobooks, is there a way to buy an audiobook while still supporting independent booksellers?
Libro FM.
Okay.
Yes.
Libro FM, libro.fm.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Beth. I was just going to expand and say that Libro gives you the option to choose which bookstore you would like to benefit from your purchase.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Please select one of our guests today's bookstores or your favorite local bookstore. Again, we exclusively at Alta try and support only independent booksellers. So libro.fm is, if you want to do an audiobook, that's the way to do it while still being indie. Okay. Mysteries, thrillers. Take us there, Karen.
Okay. So this was, I don't read a ton of mysteries and thrillers, which is weird because I grew up loving Nancy Drew and all of that, and the Egypt Game and all of those mysteries. But I love this book so much. I have some questions by Rebecca Mackay. I sell so much of it. It's kind of a combination of The Secret History and Gone Girl. I was so riveted, and I listened to it on Libro FM and read it at the same time. But also, she wrote one of my favorite, best book I've read all year, which is The Great Believers. So that's not on my list, but please, please, please. And also one of the best articles in the New Yorker, stories in the New Yorker I've ever read. Just Google Rebecca Mackay. And then I have to say, for true crime, Murders That Made Us, as I said, Zodiac, is in here. This is all about the murders that have shaped the Bay Area by Bob Calhoun. He is a terrific guy. They're so fascinating. They're really short. So I don't know what it is about people and their true crime, but this is the one that is so fantastic because it is so Bay Area and California related. There you go.
Car.
Awesome. So the book that I chose might be considered a horror novel, but I think it's a mystery and a little bit of horror, a somewhat horror. It's Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. It's really engrossing. It's sensory. It's like environmental, again, somewhat horror. It's a mystery centering on a group of Cree women in Canada, their family and extended family, and they're trying to solve the mystery of the main character, Mackenzie's foreboding dreams. There's this really spiritual element in the book that makes it a little less scary and more like a journey that we are trusted to go on. But even in the kind of assurance that like, oh, things are fine and like this has happened before and we're going to get through it, it really kept me up at night. It's very eerie, but it's about grief. It's a little scary. It seamlessly passes the Bechdel test, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, Nikki.
I am going with Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. And I will give you the quick setup. It's family in the suburbs. Husband goes missing. He was with his son. Unfortunately, his son cannot give any details of the disappearance because his son is nonverbal. And it is a page turner. It is like classic mystery. And it's just an all-around good read. I highly recommend it. I also just want to do a quick shout out to the Reformatory, which isn't a mystery, but it's horror. Her name is, the author is Tananarive Due. Tananarive is the actual capital of Madagascar. So if you've heard that name before, that's where you get it. Tananarive is a phenomenal horror writer. She's been described as like the female equivalent to Stephen King, and he talks about her books all the time. She is scary. The Reformatory came out on October 31st. I sold my last copy yesterday, so I don't have it, but yeah, those are my picks.
The Reformatory.
The Reformatory. So
I am a true crime nerd, but I know that there's a whole horror world out there.
it's been a good year for horror fans with the anthology edited by Jordan Peele called Out There Screaming with Tananarive Due. It's been a good year for us.
Oh, you're a horror person, Nikki?
I'm a every genre person.
I still can't believe you guys know every single book that everyone else is recommending. Okay, let's move on to kids and or young adults.
Okay. So, these are the two books I want every child in Vallejo to have. It's Something Someday by Amanda Gorman and illustrated by the amazing Christian Robinson. And it's all about a little boy who sees that there are problems happening, that we're all getting so used to. And he's told by adults that he can't do anything about it. He's so young, but he does. He starts to nurture, and he gets the other children to nurture, and then finally makes a beautiful garden and people are safe. It is so beautiful. And we love Amanda Gorman. So I'm trying to get this in everybody's hands. And then also Neil Gaiman and Oliver Jeffers, What You Need to Be Warm, a poem of welcome. We always joke that Neil Gaiman is the reason that this store is here, because a town isn't a town without a bookstore, from American Gods. So anything Neil Gaiman does, of course, we worship. But these are kind of cool ant books, I have to admit. So really just get them. Bluey. They all
5-year-olds, yes, get them.
Oh
Bluey.
my God. Who does? I love Bluey, come on. So there you go.
All right, Car.
Cool ant books. That's so funny. Let's see, young adult kids. The one that I chose is not a young adult book, so you will not find it there in the store. It's a graphic novel that centers around young adults in their early 20s, but I really think that young people like teens will get a lot out of it. So I chose Black Word by Lawrence Lindell.
Yes.
It's a graphic novel about four friends trying to put together a group for Black nerds and share their art and be in community with one another. There's some conflict in the book, but for the most part, it's really fun and joyful and bright and about friendship. And it's funny, and it has a really distinctive cast of characters that will make you go like, oh, I'm a Leica, or oh, I'm an Amor, like a really kind of like Sex and the City, kind of like who are you, but for Black Word. Plus there's nods to Los Angeles and the Bay Area, to places where Lawrence Lindell has called home, and there's a lot of funny Easter eggs to look out for. It's very sweet. And the other one that I chose is for young people, I promise. You'll find it in that section. Was The Eyes and the Impossible by Dave Eggers. This
cover.
It's gorgeous. It's like this wood cut with these gold pages. It's a storybook, legitimately. So The Eyes and the Impossible, it's more of a middle grade novel. I think it would be fun to read to younger children. I think like maybe 3rd through 6th grade, 4th through 7th grade novel. I think it would that would be for reading to themselves. And I think adult readers would enjoy reading it too. I did. It's sweet, it's comic, it's harrowing. It's the narrative of a dog named Johannes who lives in Golden Gate Park. And it's all about animal friends. It's about land development, encroaching on preserved land. The bisons in Golden Gate Park are very important. Our store is right next to Golden Gate Park, so it's like perfect tie-in for us. And Johannes's perspective is very silly and fun to read. He doesn't know how big the park is because he's a dog, so he thinks it's like thousands of miles long, and he's like 1 billion years old. It's very sweet and beautiful, and I think kids of all ages will enjoy it.
Nikki?
Yeah, so I am going to go with Free Water by Amina Lukman Dawson. It looks like this. I forgot to grab it from the front of the store before I came out or came back here for this. But it is historical fiction, middle grade, deeply moving, beautiful story about 2 enslaved kids who escape the plantation that they were on. It is told through the eyes of Homer, who is 12 years old. And I think like it's a book that we should all read, but specifically it's meant to target the middle graders, but it's a great book for everybody. So beautiful. It just won a Newbery and Coretta Scott King Award. And so y'all need to get that.
Okay. All right, let's move into cookbooks, foodie books, crafter books. What do we give the kitchen crafter DIY person?
Well, of course, we have to go with Snoop's book, and I actually worked for Chronicle when the first one came out, and it was a huge success. But again, this is another Vallejo book because it's with E40.
Woohoo!
E40 is his kind of co-star in this. And so we just got E40 Street dedicated in Vallejo.
Oh.
And so this is really terrific though, because E40 has his own little restaurant in the Giant Stadium. And so there's a lot of Filipino recipes in here. And we have a really large Filipino the population here. And so again, but another one is Eddie Muller's Noir Bar for the cocktails. And I have to give a shout out that the day this book came in and I was shelving and I said, how can we Muller here? And I did it. So we've got Eddie Muller for a special event on December 15th at our historic theater around the corner from the shop, the Empress. He's going to do a book signing and be in conversation with local musician Nick Rossi. And we're going to be showing Pitfall, which is a noir film and also in the book, starring Raymond Burr, who moved to Vallejo 100 years ago this year. And as it turns out, his first place that he lived with his mom is in the same building the bookstore is in. So
Wow.
everything comes back to Vallejo.
So many, you really have Vallejo'd this home.
I Vallejo'd at home because somebody's got a Vallejo at home, you
Yes,
know.
Eddie Muller's been a guest on Alta Live also. This is great. We
Absolutely.
will grab a link to that wonderful Alta Journal assistant editor, Jess Blau. We'll hopefully be able to grab a link to that right now. And we will send it to you guys, everyone watching. If you are in the Vallejo area on the 15th and want to attend that event, go for it.
Thank
All right,
you.
Car.
All right. So this book made me so hungry. It's Chili Crisp by James Park. Sorry, it's all blurry. But trust me, the cover looks very good. This book made me so hungry. Just looking at its pages. It's all about making the condiment of chili crisp more than just a condiment. So if you're not familiar, chili crisp is spicy, crunchy, aromatic condiment, primarily in Chinese cooking, but in all different kinds of Asian cooking as well. Usually it's chilies, peppercorns, garlic, spices, and scallions. What's really special about this book is that it gives you different recipes for making your own chili crisp. And it also has recipes that highlight chili crisp in the dish. So some of the highlights include kimchi, chili crisp, quesadillas, spicy miso butter linguine, maple chili, roasted carrots. It's really delicious. And James Park has suggestions for every meal, including breakfast and dessert. So if you want to like get your spice on, you can do it all day.
All right, Nikki.
I'm hungry now. I am going with Dine in Palestine. This book is gorgeous. I actually made the labna, and it's like yogurt balls, but sort of infused or soaked in like mint and pepper flakes. It's so delicious. The book is gorgeous. The few recipes I've tried are very amazing. It's in paperback, so it's affordable, and it's just a really, really great book with lots of amazing recipes.
Okay.
And relatively easy to find ingredients.
Yeah.
Is it relatively easy to make?
Yes, ish. There's something for everybody.
All right. Next on our list is my most challenging one. What do we give the obligatory neighbor, coworker, person we kind of know, and we have to get them something for Christmas? Karen.
So I like to give kind of, I don't really know what you call them, kind of gifty books that are a little uplifting. So this is one of my favorite books in the world. It's Truman Capote, A Christmas Memory. That's granted, as long as your neighbor, you know, celebrates Christmas, but it's just beautiful. And I love Truman Capote so much. And also shout out that the new Feud is coming next month with swans. I can't wait. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's just gorgeous. And it's a lot of people's tradition to read this, you know, for julebekuvloed. So I have customers, I ordered a stack and this is the only one left, so I had to grab it. Another one that I love so much is the Book of Delights, any of Ross Gay's books. These are just kind of little optimistic essays, you know, not huge investments in time, but just something. Who wouldn't want to open a little present that says the Book of Delights, you know? And I mean, if you give this at a white elephant, it's going to get snagged over and over again. So that's kind of my litmus test. What will get snagged at white elephant? So it's something like this is just, it's just a delight, you guys. Get this for your neighbor you don't know very well. And maybe they'll take your garbage cans in when you're out of town.
Car.
Really good choice, Karen. I really wish I had thought of Ross Gay because I don't what kind of person doesn't like that?
Right? Like not liking Dolly Parton, right? Yeah.
So my top recommendation for what to give as an obligatory gift would be a gift card from your local independent bookstore. I do think it's the best option. I always recommend it. I will say, and I needed a reason to include this book on our list today because I think it's really important and I really want to talk about it. I would recommend, if you have any inkling that the person you are giving a gift to is interested in music at all, check out But Will You Love Me Tomorrow? It's by Laura Flam and Emily Sue Leibowitz. It's an oral history of the girl groups of the 1960s, like the Ronettes and the Shirelles and the Shangri-Las, the Supremes, and more, so many more, in fact. I think this is such an important book just because this music is so ubiquitous and very few people know about the women and sometimes very young girls who were behind making it. And Flam and Leibowitz got to sit down with all of these performers and these producers and got to get their own words on the record. And they talk about making the songs and their friendships that they formed in doing it, what the music industry was like at the time. A lot of these artists are no longer with us or they're getting older, and having this oral history is a really tremendous gift. So I know it's kind of odd for like an obligatory gift or like, what do I get someone that I don't know very well? But I think if they're like interested in music in the slightest, that would be my pitch for
so
that.
Interesting. Yeah.
So interesting.
All right, Nikki.
I'm going with a gift card to your favorite local independent bookstore. We have gift cards in store. We sell gift cards online. Once you walk into our store, you will quickly see that in addition to an abundance of books, we also have really fun candles and journals and notebooks and pens and pencils and things that everybody will hopefully love and enjoy. But a gift card is a good way to go. And to me, a gift card to a bookstore specifically is a lot more thoughtful than maybe like a generic gift card, like an Amex card or something like that, because you're really funneling that person into a small business, and they will come in and be engaged. And I just think that experience is what makes independent bookstores so special. And we are determined to get them something that they will find useful or something that they will love. So just getting your favorite, or not favorite neighbor, but your neighbor or strangers or anybody who you are getting an obligatory gift, it would be so helpful to get them inside the store so that we can chat them up and find out about things that they love and give some really good recommendations to them.
And a great way to give a gift card is to put it in an Alta and give them a membership to Alta as well.
Absolutely.
Or buy the Alta bookstore guide of the California and the West and pop that gift card in there.
Yep.
Yes. So, I realize that times are tight or whatever, but if you can package it all together, put together a little bundle, and we'll all be happier and smarter together. All right. Last thing on the list. What do we buy the book lover who's read everything? And I would count the three of you among those people. You guys have known every single book on this list that each one of you have mentioned. What do we get the smarty pants book expert on our list to make them happy and impress them with our literary skills? Karen?
Well, definitely the gift card. Everything you guys said.
Certainly, always the gift card.
Copy of Alta. This is what I give to people who are in a slump. But, and of course the swag, the Alibi Bookshop or Octavia's Bookshelf, or, the Green Apple totes and t-shirts and bookmarks and blah, blah, blah. But one thing that I love that's really nice and gifty, and again, this is also good for White Elephant, are these candles from Flypaper. This is F Off I'm Reading and Read and Chill, and they have all different themes. And I have a tribute. So a friend of mine came in here and she wanted a candle, and she's like, I cannot believe you're selling these candles at this price. And I'm like, I don't make up the prices. Sorry, welcome to the book industry, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all right, I'll buy one. She came back about 3 days later and bought 5 more and said, these are the best candles I have ever bought in my life. So they're, she was a convert, and they're really beautiful, and you can give it with a gift card. And so especially during the winter months when somebody's cozy and in their cozy socks and reading their cozy book, they can smell like fir and balsam and ginger or bay berry. I don't know what that smells like. Pine and lemon rinds. And then we also have these other ones from Luminary and Company. So here you have a Patti Smith fan. Oh my gosh. Well, you can get the really nice deluxe edition of Just Kids, which I'm sure they don't have, and a candle, and then have a little Patti shrine. And by the way, this is our book club, memoir book club pick for January. So, you know, little things like that. You can be really creative in the bookstore, and you can combine things like gift cards and candles and bookmarks and, you know, pens and everything that Nikki and Car were saying, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. So have fun. And you know what? Just ask your bookseller. Just come up. That's what we're here for. Just say, I have an aunt and she doesn't really like to read, but I want to find her something special. Or, you know, my dad is in the hospital, or, you know, or I have this white elephant party. Anything. That is what we're here for. This is what we live for, you know? So this is not a special podcast or web thing for us. This is what we do every day, and this is our lifeblood, and we love doing it. So just ask us anything.
Yes. All right, Car. What do you think?
All right. So I agree with Karen. Please ask us. We love doing this, right? If you're friends with someone or are shopping for someone who has read everything, I have two suggestions. One, I would recommend seeking out titles from small presses. Small presses publish some of the best work year after year. You can, look at the most recent award season and you'll see like more small press titles there this year than before. Jan Fosse won the Nobel this year and his work was published into English by Transit Books here in the Bay Area. Very proud of Transit, yay. But anyone who reads voraciously, try looking at backlists off the beaten path and seeing what might interest you. If you do so, I guarantee you will find something that even the most voracious reader has not read yet. But if you have someone on your list who loves reading, chances are they also love bookstores. I might recommend the latest from Lawrence, Kansas's own Danny Kane, How to Protect Bookstores and Why, the Present and Future of Bookselling. Kane's one of the owners of Raven Bookstore in Kansas. He's a poet. He also famously wrote How to Resist Amazon and Why. And this book profiles all the ways in which bookstores are awesome and what the role of a bookseller is, different models for bookstores such as collective ownership, etc., and how these stores are making an impact on their community. It's also an incredible action guide for book lovers for how to support independent bookstores. And I also think it doesn't get too insider baseball about bookselling. It's really a good book for people who love bookstores. It's a celebration of the bookstore as a place for culture and community, and what a bookstore is as a community resource. I think he does a really great job, and chances are your friend hasn't read it yet.
All right. Nikki, what do we get someone who's read everything?
Yes, I am in agreement with Karen and Car's suggestions 100%. But I also would suggest these little socks. It's always okay to buy more books. Book lovers love these socks. We also have them say, I read banned books. And if your friend is a little irreverent and you're close enough to gift them something like this, my dog and I talk shit about you is a popular choice. We have tons of bookish items in the store, including a shirt that just says bookworm. So you can let your nerd flag fly by giving them a t-shirt that declares their love of books.
This is my favorite Alta Live of the year. It is so much fun. I hope, I feel like if you're here, we're in many ways preaching to the choir, and that if you come to Alta Live, you already love independent bookstores and independent booksellers, who are the ones that make the independent bookstores. But you can see why it is so important that we continue to support indie booksellers, because this is priceless information, enthusiasm, expertise about books and fun and community. And I am so grateful. I hope each of you, again, I just want to drive this home, will support Alibi Bookshop in Vallejo, California, Green Apple in San Francisco, California, Octavia's Bookshelf in Pasadena, California, or whatever independent bookstore is near you, and develop a relationship with them. If there is a bookstore that you think that Alta should know about and be working with or supporting, reach out to me, Beth at Alta Online. You can, let me know. Happy to talk about it. But I am so very grateful to Karen, Carr, and Nikki for taking the time away. I know you guys are working hard. This is your busy time of year. And we are so grateful that you've taken the time to share your wisdom and enthusiasm with us all. It is just, this is our gift, and we are very grateful. So thank you all.
Thank you,
for
Beth.
having
Thank
us.
you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
all.
Folks, we are going to send you links to all of these books, everything we talked about today, as well as how to support each of these bookshops, how to support Alta, how to attend that event with Eddie Muller if you want. And also, please do join us next week. That's Wednesday, December 13th here at 12:30. Obie Kaufman, one of the selections today, and Greg Saris have a podcast together, Place and Purpose, and they will be in conversation with me talking about that podcast. So I hope you'll join us for that. With that, take care, everyone. Stay warm and dry, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, Nikki. Bye, Karen. Bye, Beth.
Bye.